everyone, thanks for joining me today. I'm Connie from Cocktails and Color, and what I wanted to show you are some of my favorite ways to make splatter and how they can embellish a painting. So the first example I'm going to show you will be similar to this flamingo. You can see all this interesting color splatter in the background. It's really a lot of fun. Another technique will be like this cosmic painting. We worked with the kids and we did our favorite constellations, but then we used some splatter, as you can see, to just add some of the other Milky Way galaxy type kind of things going on in the background. Then also, another way I'm going to show you is how to do isolated splattering. So you can see here that this was one of the paintings for Mommy and Me, Be Kind. And you can see that the splatter was used just here for the sunflower itself. So another technique will allow you to just get those isolated extra touches. I know in the studio when we show splatter as an option, it's as popular as glitter. Everyone loves it. So stay tuned and you'll learn some of my favorite techniques. All right, splatter in the studio gets the same reaction from everyone like glitter does. It is just awesome and it is so much fun. All ages, from the Mommy and Me kids all the way up through our regular painters. Everyone loves splatter. And there's different techniques that you can use to, depending on your painting and the effect that you're looking for, create the extra little pizzazz that you were going for. So there's about 4 techniques. There might even be more than that, but the 4 most common ones we use in the studio are what I wanted to share with you today. So I'm going to take palette of colors and then also some background that was pre-painted on here. The important thing about splatter is to have a texture that's going to be a little bit watered down. So the regular paint, as you can see, is kind of goopy and thick. What you want to do with the paint for splatter purposes is just get it a little more fluid, a little more soupy. So what I did is I pulled a little bit of paint over to the edge here, and then I'm using my job of the brush, the round brush, and adding some scoops of water here to this pink paint. And you can see that it's just getting a little bit watery here. Add a little bit more. All right, the first technique I'm going to show you is holding the brush and grabbing it and then tapping with your other hand. So I'm right-handed. If you are left-handed, whatever your dominant hand is, grab the brush with your dominant hand, and then with your other hand, you're going to tap with your pointer finger and put the brush close to the canvas, and you will be able to tap on that to get your splatter. So here we go. What I like about this technique, and I'll give you the pros and cons for each of them, but what I do like about this technique is that it gives you the ability to kind of isolate your splatter and keep it contained to a certain area. So this particular technique I've used for flowers, and when you make pollen in the little seed pod area, it's perfect. Like if you could picture a sunflower and having some white or some sienna little seed pod flower dust there. So that is technique number 1. All right, the next technique I'm going to do is also using the round brush, and let me get some of that paint also prepared. I am, again, watering it down. The regular paint is a little bit too thick in this case, so I'm just going to dilute that and then stir a little bit with the brush to get it nice and soupy and ready to go. And I'm actually going to stand up for this one to give a little bit more leverage. And in this case, I'm going to grab the brush with my dominant hand, and then I'm going to take my pointer finger of my other hand and pull back and then release it, and then it splatters. So this is really an ideal technique if you were doing a, like the flamingo painting I showed you in the beginning, where it's kind of like free form and a lot more splatter coverage. This is the technique that you want to do. So I am grabbing it with my dominant hand, pulling back, and then releasing. Isn't that incredible? I think it is so cool. So I'll do a couple more there. So each time you do it, you can get even more splatter, as you can see. So in the studio, when we do this technique in particular, we caution everyone, you know, hide your shoes. If you have a purse or anything in splatter range, you might want to move that away. So that is the second technique. The third technique, I am going to dilute yet another color and show you. I think on this background, I'm going to do the blue. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. This is actually one of the Deco Art products that is the Blue Sapphire Extreme Sheen. So I'm going to pull a little bit over there and get that watered down to a nice texture too. All right. Now the difference here is I'm going to switch and use a toothbrush. So you can see that the bristles here are very, very hard. And I'm going to just take the bristles of the brush. You can hear how hard they are. And I'm getting that on the bottom of the bristle. Sounds like I'm brushing the paint. And then I'm going to take that brush and I'm going to take my finger like this, my thumb actually like this, and I'm going to hold it vertically and then splatter on the canvas that way. So this is a really nice technique. Again, if you want a very fine splatter, let me add a little bit more here so you can see. So if you just want a nice little accent, maybe you want some snow falling, something that's a little bit more subtle versus the dominant yellow that we did, this is the perfect technique for that. So you can see that isolated little splatter. This would be really great to use for a night sky, you know, with the constellations and the stars in the background. All right, so I'm going to rinse that off. And your hands do get a little bit, you know, but that's okay. This is all acrylic and it washes off just fine. Now for the final technique I'm going to demonstrate, let me see. I'm going to use the red because I think that will show up very nice against this background color too. So just like the others, I'm going to dilute the red with some of the water. And this is the most hands-on of all of the techniques. So you can see I'm getting that really soupy. All right, now what I'm going to do is actually dip my fingers into that paint. So the technique is kind of like crunch your fingers all together and then you're going to dip them all into that paint and then you're going to take your fingers and then flick it like this. But I'm going to be pointing toward the canvas, but I wanted you to see exactly how I'm doing that to create that splatter. So this is going to be good, again, for a big area such as the flamingo painting, or otherwise if you want to have a snowstorm, you know, that would be perfect with white. And let me grab some of that on my fingers here. So you can see they're very well covered. So it creates a little bit different of a pattern. And again, this is going to be probably one of the messier ones and not as controlled as a couple of the other options. But look at the cool look that can give to any of your pieces, some nice embellishment. All right, I hope you can tell from this video how much fun splatter is, and I really love it. It can just add so much character to your paintings, and it's just like glitter, the perfect little touch. So thank you for joining us, and have some fun.